My name is Stephanie, joined now by the Plain White Tees. How's
What's
it going,
up?
guys?
Hey.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to Nashville. Heard you just got in a couple hours ago.
Yeah, still waking up a little bit, but love Nashville.
Yeah, we always love the hectic tour schedules. I always feel like a little guilty being like, oh, you just got in and now we're making you like perform before noon. But
we'll be okay.
Yeah, you guys want to go around and introduce yourselves real quick? We've got streaming on video at volume.com/lightning100. So you can wave up there and then on the radio.
Hello, cameras.
I'm Tim.
I'm Damar.
I'm Tom.
Awesome. Well, good morning, guys.
Yeah,
so
good to be
we've
here.
been playing a couple songs this morning, chatting a little. Thought we could get started with one song pretty quick. What do you want to start with?
Yeah, so we just put out a new album in November, and we're going to play one of the songs from that album called Would You Even?
Great.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Let's do it. Almost fell asleep on the drive home. I wonder if you would give a Got all these demoed songs on my iPhone, and if I die, then none of them would ever be hits. Hey, hey, can't believe you said that about me. You're always good at tearing me down. Now you're trying to call and say sorry. I guess I got no choice. Now I'm turning around. Driving back to your house, it's almost daylight. I doubt these words will help, but I'm hoping that they might. And if I pour my heart out, would you even listen? And if we end it all now, would you even miss it? Would you even? Now I'm always keeping my guard up. I never can do anything right. You stole my heart and now it's all scarred up. You're pretty good at love, but you're better at fights. Driving back to your house, it's almost daylight. I doubt these words will help, but I'm hoping that they might. And if I pour my heart out, would you even listen? And if we end it all now, would you even miss it? Would you even? Hey, would you even? Hey, why do I do this to myself? Why do I do this to myself? Why do I do this to myself? Driving back to your house, it's almost daylight. I doubt these words will help, but I'm hoping that they might. And if I pour my heart out, would you even listen? And if we end it all now, would you even miss it? Would you even? Hey, would you even? Hey, would you even?
Lightning 100 got Plain White Tees live here in the volume.com studio. Sounding great this morning.
Oh, thank you.
Loving the
Thank
pre-noon energy that we're bringing.
Yeah.
With
Thank you.
one from the new album too. So yeah, the new album just came out in November, right?
Yeah,
So,
the new album, it doesn't have a title. Kind of self-titled,
Yeah.
kind of non-titled, whatever.
which I thought was kind of interesting because I feel like that's usually, the self-titled is usually like
like
a
the
first
first, yeah.
album move. I was kind of wondering if there was like an intentional decision behind
It's like
that.
a new beginning of sorts.
Yeah, okay.
No, not really. It's just we just
I'm
have
here for it.
the image of the album cover is just a t-shirt. It's like this really cool black and white photo of just a t-shirt. And when we all saw it, we were like, we don't really have to put any words on this thing. It
Yeah.
just kind of speaks for itself. So
Yeah, I mean, especially with the name of the band, it kind of
exactly.
it literally
Yeah, it's
speaks
like
for itself.
Literally, it's like meta on
It is a
levels,
visual
on
representation.
multi-levels. Yeah, exactly.
Well, what kind of went into making the new album? Like, was there something in particular that was inspiring this group of songs, or was it just, your usual writing over a period of time?
Well, I mean, going through, the pandemic and everything, I'm sure every artist or every band has the same story of like, going through all that and just kind of being stuck at home, thinking, missing playing shows, missing that connection with the fans and everything. So I think a lot of the album is a bit of it's like a hopeful, kind of like really trying to live in the moment and being hopeful and just kind of being as joyous as possible. And I think that all kind of stemmed from, having to sit home for a year.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. And especially, I feel like you guys in particular have such a connection with the fans at live shows, it seems. I feel like there's some bands that they are bands because they want to be in the studio, and then there's some bands that want to be bands so they can play on stage. And I mean, I guess I'm just guessing, but you seem like the on stage type.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of all of the above, It's really fun to write the songs, of course, to just sit either alone or with buddies or whatever, or with each other and write. Obviously, the studio is fun. But yeah, then getting to play and like have that connection. For a lot of fans like sing along to our song, like especially songs like, Hey There Delilah, Rhythm of Love, 1, 2, 3, 4, like those songs become like big sing-alongs with the crowd.
Yeah.
And a lot of the new songs, like people, even though the album just came out a couple months ago, like definitely getting a vibe. Like that song we just played, like Tim starts playing that opening riff and people start cheering already. It's like, oh man, you know this already. All right.
Well, they are so singable, like the new ones too. I mean, they have those like melodic hooks that they just stick in your head in such a cool way. Yeah. And I should not neglect to mention, speaking of the live shows, that you guys are playing tonight here in Nashville at Exit Inn, which is always a great venue. Have you guys played out there before?
We have. I think a few years ago we came through and played Exit. We love Exit
Inn. It's so fun. Yeah. So that'll be kicking off tonight. Doors are at 7 and the show starts at 7:30. Tickets are at exitinn.com. And yeah, I saw that you guys were taking entries for people like building their dream set list for you guys.
Yeah.
How was that? Like, was that fun to see? Did you guys like actually make any decisions based on that?
So it's super funny, and I don't know. So we have basically when we come out on for our encore, the first song we play is this song that like the fans get to vote for, right? And we've given them 3 options every show this whole tour. And it's been the same song every single night.
What song is that?
It's an older song called Friends Don't Let Friends Dial Drunk.
Okay, I remember that one.
Okay,
very
yeah.
well. Yes.
But we've got we've got that one, Natural Disaster, which was like a song we made a video for and everything, which was, arguably a bigger song than Friends Don't Let Friends Dial Drunk. And then a song off of our Wonders of the Younger album called Welcome to Mystery, which actually was pretty big. It was on like the Alice in Wonderland soundtrack, the Tim Burton movie
I
and
remember
stuff.
that.
So it's like all 3 of those songs we thought would be like neck and neck every night, but every single night so far it's been Friends Don't Let Friends Dial Drunk.
Well, it's funny how like, you say like, and this one was like arguably more popular, and it's like, it's funny how some songs just become like those fan favorites over time. I always think that's so cool to see with bands, like, it'll be like the middle of an album, the end of an album, just these kind of like, not that any song is random, but these seemingly like non-single things that end up.
No, you're totally right. It's like,
becoming,
how did that song get, catch on?
It just...
Delilah was getting
that's true.
tucked at the very end of a record.
I remember that because that came out like at the end of an album in like 2005, but then it wasn't really like a huge hit till what was it, like 2007 or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was on our indie release. What year was All That We Needed?
Yeah, she was right. It was 2005. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it was on the radio in 2007, and it was really like the fans that made that song. Like we loved it and we thought it was great, but it was like ever since we put that out, the fans were like, "Oh, we like this song," and it was just like obvious that like it just kept building and building, and kind of we had nothing to do with it. It was
to the
like
point where our major label asked us, "Hey, we want to strip it onto your first major label release," and most of us in the band were like, "No, that's a bad idea." And then they did it and blew it up.
We thought it was a bad idea for about a day, and then we're like, "Well, people seem to like this one. Maybe we should, let them put it out." And
I mean, that's always fun for the fans too, because like the fans who had been listening to it obsessively since 2005 get to be like, oh, I knew that song like 2 years ago. So, which I specifically remember one of my friends saying about that one in like 07.
Nice.
I've got Plain White Tees here live in the Volume.com studio, playing out at Exit In tonight. Doors are at 7, shows at 7:30. You can grab tickets at exitin.com. You can also watch this performance right now over at volume.com/lightning100. We got us all crammed in here nice and cozy in our tiny studio.
It's warm. Yeah,
it is getting a little warm in here. I was thinking about taking the jacket off in a second. So before we get to another song, I've been thinking a lot lately about kind of like music scenes and the scenes that bands come up in and like the effect that can have on your career and the writing and everything. So I was wondering if you guys could tell us like a little bit about the scene you guys came up in, because it was a very like active scene.
Absolutely. I mean, I definitely think it's funny you word it that way, like kind of like how it affects your sound and your writing and stuff, because definitely we came up, I mean, I was a big fan. There was a band called the Smoking Popes in Chicago that was a little older than us, but they were kind of like the local band that like everybody kind of idolized because they were, you know, getting big and they were blowing up, but they were still like our boys, you know, like the local band that did it. And then there was bands that we came up with, like Fall Out Boy, like somebody mentioned earlier, and a band called Lucky Boys Confusion, that again kind of got. Oh, and Show Off was John Feldman, the first band he ever produced was our buddy's Show Off. Anyway, yeah, it was. I think because of those bands and because of that scene, why we kind of were like leaned into like the pop punk a little bit more than we probably would have, just to kind of fit in, you know, to play show. We're playing shows with all these bands. We're like, oh man, they play way harder than us. We got to turn up the distortion a little bit or something. But super, super fun coming up. We were lucky to have all those bands and like that scene, because there was really a great sense of camaraderie and, you know, everybody just kind of like looking out for each other and helping each other build it up. It was great.
And I feel
that's
like
what kind of like lands us in the emo movement too.
That's true.
Like, if you hear Delilah on its own, you wouldn't think, oh, these guys belong on When We Were Young or anything like that. But you know, spent the summer.
But when you put it in the context, exactly. And being on like Warped Tour and in the Chicago scene. And I just always think it's so interesting. And, you know, I think these things are changing a little bit with the way like, you know, the internet has affected like people spreading music, but it did used to be so city based. And I think, it's cool to see like Chicago bands of that time have such a sound. Sure. I mean, they're not that they're all the same at all, but like very much that like pop punk emo thing happening at that time.
You mentioned Spitalfield earlier.
Yes,
it was in DeMar's old band Knockout before he was in the Tees. It was like definitely there was a sound coming out of Chicago.
Yeah,
it was a great time.
Well, before we all melt in here, because it is getting a little warm, you guys want to give us one more song this morning?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, what do you want to play next?
Well, you know, since it's so hot in here, we were going to play another song off the new album that we actually named the tour the Fired Up Tour.
Yes.
Kind of after this song. So, we're going to play Fired Up. Sweet.
I'm fired up and I feel a lot better now. Sun coming up and I feel like going out. Fill up my cup and I smile when I look around. If you're feeling what I'm feeling, sing it with me now. I'm fired up and I feel a lot better now. Sun coming up and I feel like going out. Fill up my cup and I smile when I look around. If you're feeling what I'm feeling, sing it with me now. I forever wanna feel like my head's up flying in the clouds. I forever wanna feel like I feel, and I never ever wanna come down. I'm fired up. I'm fired up. I'm fired up. If you're feeling what I'm feeling, sing it with me now. I'm fired up and I feel a lot better now. Sun coming up and I feel like going out. Fill up my cup and I smile when I look around. If you're feeling what I'm feeling, sing it with me now. I forever wanna feel like I'm hyped up, surfing on the crowd. I forever wanna feel like I feel, and I never ever wanna come down. I'm fired up. I'm fired up. Yeah, I'm fired up. If you're feeling feeling, sing it. Sing it with me now. I'm fired up and I feel a lot better now. Sun coming up and I feel like going out. Fill up my cup and I smile when I look around. If you're feeling what I'm feeling, sing it with me now. I'm fired up and I feel a lot better now. Sun coming up and I feel like going out. Fill up my cup and I smile when I look around. If you're feeling what I'm feeling, sing it with me now. I'm fired up. I'm fired up. I'm fired up. Yeah, I'm fired up. I'm fired up.
Lightning 100 Plain White Tees live here in the Volume.com studio. Catch them tonight at Exit In. Again, doors are at 7. Show starts at 7:30. Show up early to see Pollyanna and Sierra Annie going to be opening. Tickets are at exitin.com. Wrong venue there for a second. exitin.com. Thank you guys so much for coming in today. This was so fun. Sounds so great.